What's going on, everybody? Kalipus Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks for the TCL 4X 5G to help you get more familiar with the device. Now, before we go any further, as always, I do want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to learn more about this phone, I will be linking to several other videos about it in the description, as well as some information about pricing, availability, and some of my favorite smartphone accessories. But with that being said, let's get into it. Now, before we really get into this, one thing I want to show you is how to get to your settings, because if you're really new to smartphones, this might be a little confusing. So there are two ways to do this. The first one is from the actual settings app. Now, I did a lot to this phone before I actually started making videos with it, so I don't 100% remember where the settings app is going to be by default, but no matter what, you will be able to find it in your app drawer. So to get to the app drawer, what you're going to do is go to your home screen and swipe up like this. So this right here is the app drawer, which is basically going to show you all the apps on your phone, and the settings app is going to be somewhere in here. So as you can see, my settings app is right here, and you can actually put this on your home screen. To do this, press and hold on the icon, drag it, and as you can see, you can put it pretty much anywhere on your home screen. So for me, I personally have the settings app right here on the second page. And throughout this video, you are going to see me using this to access it. But that being said, another way you can access your settings is by swiping down like this. And you can do this no matter what you're doing on your phone. So even if you're on an app, for example, let me show you what that looks like. So as you can see right now, we are on Google Play. But again, if you want to get to your settings, no matter what you're doing on your phone, swipe down like this. And you're going to see a gear icon right here. Tap on this. And as you can see, we are in the settings, so it doesn't really matter which method you use. It's basically going to do the exact same thing. But again, throughout this video, I am going to be accessing the settings right here just because it's a little bit more convenient. But just know by default, your home screen is obviously not going to look like this. So if you ever do need to get to your settings and you want it to be as fast and simple as possible, again, just swipe down from the top of the screen like this, and settings is right here. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to change your wallpaper. What you're going to do is go to settings. From here, go to home screen and lock screen. From this menu, go to wallpapers right here. And as you can see, we got a few different options here. You can choose between static wallpapers, live wallpapers, and of course your own photos. So for example, let's go to static. I'm going to choose this one, hit allow. It's going to give you a preview. And from here, I'm going to go to set both, which is going to set it for both the home screen and the lock screen. So like this. And now as you can see, the wallpaper has been changed. Now that was easy enough, but I'm going to show you a quicker and more convenient way to change your wallpaper and customize some other things on your home screen as well. So what you're going to want to do for this is press and hold your finger on any blank spot on your home screen like this. And this menu is going to show up. As you can see from here, you can change your wallpaper, customize your themes, manage your widgets, and access some additional home screen settings. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to change your system navigation. Now, as you can see down here, in our navigation bar, we got the typical 3 buttons you usually find in an Android phone, but we can actually customize this. So to do this, go to settings. From here, go to buttons and gestures. So right here. And as you can see in this menu, the system navigation is right at the top. So in this menu, as you can see, you can switch the button order. So by default, the back button is going to be on the left and the recent apps is on the right. So you can switch the two. And in addition to this, you can also go to gesture navigation. So when you have gesture navigation, instead of buttons at the bottom, you're going to get this one line instead. So as you can see, gesture navigation kind of makes it look a little bit more modern and minimalistic. So if you do like that look, this can definitely be a nice thing. Now, gesture navigation is actually really easy to use, but in case you're new to it, let me give you a quick rundown of how it works. So to go to your home screen, swipe up like this. To go to your recent apps, drag your finger partially up. And to go back, swipe from the side. So as you can see, definitely real easy to use, and I am a big fan. Now that being said, I personally like buttons a little bit better on this phone, but if you haven't already, I definitely do recommend giving gesture navigation a try, because it's really up to personal preference, and you might end up liking it better. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to change your screen lock. Now by default, when you turn on this phone for the first time, you are going to get a pin, but we do have several different options. In fact, for that matter, I personally have a pattern right now, just kind of felt like it, and I also have the fingerprint scanner as well. But let me show you how you can set all of this up. So what you're going to do is go to settings. From here, go to where it says security and biometrics. So right here. And to change your screen lock, go to screen lock. It's going to have you enter your PIN or your pattern or whatever you're using. And once you do that, you're going to get to the main screen lock menu where you can choose between none, swipe, pattern, PIN, or password. As you can see before, I'm currently using the pattern. But again, the PIN is pretty much the industry standard. Pretty much every phone is going to start out with this. And if you want real high security, you can always use a password instead. So I'm actually going to change it back to a PIN. So I'm going to hit this. It's going to have me enter a new PIN, and once you enter it the first time, it's going to have you confirm, and that's pretty much that. Keep in mind that whether you're choosing a PIN, pattern, password, whatever it may be, the setup process will pretty much look the exact same. And in case you're wondering, again, this phone does have a fingerprint scanner, and it does have face unlock as well, and you can access both of them right here. Now we're going to take a look at the sound menu. So if you're wondering how to mute your phone, change your ringtone, stuff like that, this is going to be the section for you. So to get to the sound menu, what you're going to do is go to settings. From here, go to sound and vibration. And the first thing you're going to see is several different volumes. First one up here is call volume. So when you're talking on the phone, this is basically the sound of the earpiece. Ring volume, so obviously your ringtone. Notification volume. Media volume, so if you're watching a video, listening to music, stuff like that. And then finally alarm volume. So definitely a few things to play around with here. And as you can see, I currently have it in silent mode. So obviously with this on, everything is going to be muted. Under this, we got several different ringtones. So the first one is the actual main ringtone. So if we go here, as you can see, by default, it's not going to vibrate, but you can have it make sound and vibrate at the same time. And for the ringtone itself, you can choose between one of the stock ones, or you can add your own. Under this, we got notification ringtone and alarm ringtone, and the setup is pretty much going to be the same thing. Under this, we got do not disturb, but keep in mind, you don't actually have to go to this menu to turn this on. If you're ever in a situation where you want to quickly turn on do not disturb, all you have to do is pull down the shade twice, and do not disturb is right here. Then from here, if you go to more sound settings, we got a few other options. So dial pad tones, screen locking sounds, touch sounds, vibrate on touch. All of this is going to be on by default. Now, of course, you're not going to hear it on this phone because again, I do have it in silent mode, but if it wasn't, it would be making all of these sounds. So if you want to turn them off, this is where you go to do that. In addition to this, you can also turn off emergency alerts. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to manage which apps can send you notifications. To do this, it's real simple. What you're going to do is go to settings. From here, go to notifications. And from the notification menu, go to manage app notifications. So this is basically going to give you a list of all the apps on your phone. And as you can see, by default, notifications from pretty much all of them are going to be on. But of course, if you don't want them, you can always toggle them off. Now keep in mind there are certain notifications you can't turn off, like for example, I still haven't figured out how to get rid of this, so just keep in mind, again, when something like this shows up, you're pretty much not going to be able to get rid of it. But luckily there aren't really too many of these, so in general, if you do have a lot of apps and you're getting a lot of unwanted notifications, you will be able to turn off most of them. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to use dark mode. Now you can technically do this in the settings menu, but with the TCL 4X 5G, it's a lot more convenient than some other phones, and you don't even need to touch the settings to turn on dark mode. So what you're going to do is pull down the shade twice like this. If you haven't done anything on this menu, go to the second page, and dark mode should be right here. So to simply turn it on, tap the icon, and as you can see, we are now in dark mode. And in addition to this, if you want to schedule it, normally this is where on most phones you would actually have to go to the settings, but with the TCL 4X 5G, all you have to do is pull down the shade again, go to dark mode, and hit this drop down right here. And as you can see, you can schedule it right from the quick menu. Now I'm going to show you how to change your display color settings. Now there's not really a ton here, but like any TCL phone, we do get several more options here than most phones in this price range. So to get to these settings, what you're going to do is go to settings. From here, go to where it says Next Vision, so right here. And as you can see, we do have a few different options here. By default, image enhancement and game enhancement are going to be on. I recommend keeping these on. It doesn't really do a whole lot. It basically just makes the image look better. Under this, we got screen color. So if you go here, by default, it will be set to vivid, which is basically just going to boost the colors a little. You can also change it to natural. And from here, you can go to advanced, where you can change the actual color balance itself. Now if we go back to the main menu, under this, we also got a few different features. First, we got reading mode, which basically makes it look kind of like a Kindle. And we got eye comfort mode, which basically is going to filter out some blue light. So if you're using the phone at night, for example, this is definitely a nice thing to have. And then finally at the bottom, we got sunlight display, which as you can see, is basically going to make it easier to see in the sun. This is on by default. I'm not really 100% sure exactly what it does, but the viewing angles on this display are actually pretty decent for what it is. So I personally recommend just leaving it on. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to change your screen timeout time. To do this, go to settings. From here, go to display. From the display menu, go to sleep. And as you can see, you can set it as short as 15 seconds or as long as never. Now when it comes to screen timeout time, there's really no right or wrong here. It just depends on how you're actually using your phone. If you're not really consuming a lot of content like reading or anything like that, you're probably going to want it to be maybe 1 to 5 minutes. But if you are doing something like watching a video, reading, something where you don't want to worry about your phone falling asleep, then you might want to make it a little longer. But keep in mind, of course, if you have a longer screen timeout time, you're definitely going to want to remember to actually lock your phone, because if you don't, it does drain the battery pretty fast. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to turn off the Google feed. Now in case you don't know what this is, it's basically this right here. I personally never use this, so I like to just disable it so I don't keep accidentally scrolling onto it. So if you do want to turn it off, what you're going to do is go to that one menu I showed you earlier, which again you can get to by pressing and holding your finger on any blank spot on the home screen like this. From this menu, go to Home Settings. And from here, as you can see, by default, Google Feed will be on, so toggle it off. Go back to your home screen. And now, the Google feed is no longer on. But this concludes my beginner's guide for the TCL 4X 5G. Again, if you want to learn more about this phone, I will be linking to several other videos about it in the description, as well as some information about pricing, availability, and some of my favorite smartphone accessories. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it and found it useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow Kalipa's Tech on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, I will see you in the next video.